actually, as an artist, you should feel free and sing about anything you want,
Yeah.
about the God, about evil, whatever. So this is the freedom of artistry.
Art is something really abstract that has such a palpable impact on us. And I think music is really special in that regard, because without words or images to tell specific stories, it can still elicit such strong and diverse emotional reactions. And in today's episode, that's what we're going to talk about. We want to discover this mysterious power of music and also the ways in which it can be used or even abused. Yeah, so we're happy that you're here with us, dear listeners. My name is Gina Rose. I'm a singer and musician from Switzerland, and I had, on one hand, a colorful at-home education in music, growing up in a musician's family, and also some classical education. Screaming is therapeutic for me. Listening and playing music can be quite therapeutic. And my co-host, who happens to also be my father, Mike Doctor, he knows quite a lot about all that stuff. We've been making music together for over 10 years, but he's been making music for much longer. And yeah, today we're going to talk about the impact that music can have.
Yeah,
Say hi to the people.
Okay. Hello, I'm Mike Doctor, and nobody knows where I'm coming from except me. And I guess I'm a child of the world.
So, first question, can music be healing?
Of course, there are a lot of examples how you can heal with the music. If you go to the concert, even if you are listening to the CDs or whatever, it moves you. It moves everybody. And what I'm talking about is it can move you to crying, smiling,
Feeling connected.
being connected.
Yeah. And it can also literally move you. Like music makes us dance.
Yeah, well,
Or whether it's dancing or not, it makes our body move. Already there is a very physical response to.
Well, you are the dancer. I'm dancing only when I get drunk and the music is right.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it too. It's free.
Yeah, it helps you
It's-
release something, right?
Absolutely.
Physically, for sure. But yeah, so you would say emotions. That's the reason why music can be healing.
Yeah. Absolutely. That means remember that song? The DJ saved my life.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we are not talking about DJs now, but yeah, I mean...
But even then, the point isn't that, it wasn't the DJ, it was the music itself,
it
right?
was the music itself, of
but
course.
the DJ who chose the right tracks, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It must be the right track. But yeah, so the music can be healing, really. I mean, you can talk about spiritual stuff a little bit, in this sense. When I go to these concerts, then I feel something different than going to the funk concert or jazz concert.
But funk can be absolutely healing, right? I mean, it's not that
everything
it's,
is healing.
Yeah.
Even the most stupid Schlager, the most stupid
that's
pop.
That's something that I wanted to ask, because if it's
Yeah.
only about the emotions, then would you say that even bad musicians, because last episode we talked about it, there's no such thing as bad music, there's just bad musicians. Going from that, would you say that if a bad musician has a lot of emotion to express through their music, that it can still be healing, even if the music is not really good?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I guess the big part of healing music is also the fact that there are really good musicians on the stage who can communicate with each other, and then something happens, some kind of a magic happens, and the people feel it, and that's healing. If you have bad musicians, normally happens nothing.
Yeah, so it's not
But still, you can like it if you want. There's nothing wrong about it.
I think that there can still be emotions in it, and it can still make you feel something.
You mean a bad musician can have emotions too?
Definitely.
I guess so. And then, yeah.
But I do get your point. It's about not only is there emotion to be expressed, but are you able to actually connect both with the other musicians as well as the audience, right? So it's also a lot about the connection that happens.
Yeah, but that's the point. I mean, not everybody can be a fine musician, and you can still enjoy music on your level, whatever. That's fine. But I don't think that you are being able to really convey something because it's behind your ability. And I think the healing happens through the ability to convey something. And if you are a so-called bad musician or amateur, whatever, then you are so busy with yourself, to be able to play something, and which brings you joy, sure, and some people appreciate it, and so there is some kind of sharing, which is fine, but it's a different level. Like when you are being able to play really good, and you have the time to share, to bring something to the people.
So if that's what it's about, sharing, connecting, then is the enemy of this healing power of music the ego?
Yeah.
Is that like standing in the way? But I mean,
yes and no.
I mean, of course, I think the question of ego, it's always a question of balance, right?
Yeah.
It's if you don't have an ego, then you can't connect either, or really.
Let's talk about the front man and front woman.
Yeah, you need an ego for that.
You need an ego.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't be there in front of the stage.
Yeah,
and
or I
the musicians.
suppose in general to be a performer.
Yeah,
I guess,
of course. So when we talk about modern shows, a lot of dances around. So that's it's marvelous. It's great to look at, but there we have the little problem, it's not about music that much as it is about visual concept.
Yeah, so it's the image altogether.
The image. So when you go to those concerts where you have a great shows, and I can love it too, but there are so many visuals involved. Then the question is, is it still about music? Or is it about the visuals?
Yeah, but there again, we have the question with the ego, because this problem is not only about like wanting to make it a whole visual experience and moving away from the music, but it's also about the performer being in the spotlight, and it's more about this person than about the music itself. Then I think the ego might be in the way of being able to really connect with the audience.
Yeah. Can be in the way, but if you're a really good performer and you really have a lot of charisma, then it can be it can bring the whole thing together.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily about the ego, but can you have this honest, genuine connection, both personally and musically?
So we are talking about pretenders now, right?
Yeah, actually.
So yes, there are a lot of pretenders, and there are some that are not, and they are more sincere in the performing, and I think people feel that surely.
Yeah.
But those pretenders, they just need a big show, right?
Yeah.
A lot of dances.
Mm-hmm.
But ego. You need ego.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. You cannot go on the stage without an ego.
So we're talking a little bit about both. It can be healing to listen to music, right? And be feeling something through listening, but also playing music yourself. It can be healing too.
Absolutely.
For me, I think it's about self-expression. It can help me to process my emotions, be in the moment, connect with other musicians, as you said. All those things can be healing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a high-level musician to have that kind of a healing effect on you.
Healing feeling.
On any level, makes you feel happy, makes you forget about your miserable life. Now,
yeah, in that sense, it can be healing no matter how good you are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So go and play your instrument.
Exactly, play. I think that's also the important keyword here. It's about play. It can be really freeing and just exploring what you can do and how the notes come together or whatever groove you can make. And I think playing is healing. That's a
good statement. I like that, really.
So maybe that's why it's healing, because it's play.
Yeah. Because we always like to play as a children.
And we forget to a little bit when we become adults, don't we?
Yeah.
But music has existed for such a long time. It existed in so many different contexts, cultures, times. On one hand, if it's about singing, then it's something free, sort of. You only need your body to do it. If you have a voice, then you can sing. And
that sounds almost spiritual.
It is,
your
right?
Voice, you don't need anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that on another episode. But no, so like how it can create this feeling of community. It can create this feeling of freedom or something like that. And in that sense, it can be about survival, but that can also be healing in a very fundamental sense. And we're not talking about performing or, professionally or whatever, but like this very raw form where you see also the need for music to survive even. I'm
just thinking about classical music, right? When I'm listening to some classical music and it can sound pretty melancholic, even a little dark, and it's elevates me. It's I feel like being blessed, and when other people listening to it, they get depressed. So it's really funny the way we perceive the music and the vibes and the
but that's interesting because actually, I think music isn't just healing in the sense of, it sounds happy, so it makes us happy, and then it's healing. It's not just about that. For me, for example, the reason why I say screaming is my therapy, or like punk can be healing to me, is because it's an expression of anger, right? And it feels good whether I'm doing it myself or I'm listening to it. Either way, it allows me to release anger or to feel anger. I think that's the thing. It allows us to feel our feelings where often the uncomfortable feelings, we prefer to ignore them, which is really not healthy at all. And so through music, sometimes the sadness, the darkness, the anger,
exactly.
it allows us to actually feel those important emotions. And that is healing, even though it's not positive. It doesn't have to be positive to be healing, right?
Yeah, bring it on, bring it out. I mean, if you really just take time to think about what we are talking about, is probably you won't need a shrink anymore.
I need both. I need music and
she
a
need
shrink.
both. I don't.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. It can be very therapeutic.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
In allowing you to feel your feelings, or feeling less alone in your feelings also. There is so much value in that, actually. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a part of healing.
So, because music can make us feel so much, it has the power to influence us.
Of course. It's a sort of becoming part of our life, and it can influence your mood, of course.
So much. Sometimes I have a horrible night. I have to get up early to go to work, and my mood is just shit. And I just listen to a few good songs and my whole mood shifts. And I just feel like thankful to be alive, even just to be able to listen to these songs. Or, you know, it's incredible the power it has on your mood. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we use it a lot to get energy, to exercise, for example, or to relax, to meditate, to sleep. We use it so much nowadays to actively influence our headspace, sort of.
Maybe we use it too much, right? It has a huge impact. I mean, there might be some people out there who are not listening to the music at all, or but let me put it this way: everything is music, and music is everything. That means if you're into nature, you don't need your recordings, your smartphone, because when you walk out there, they all sing. They do.
Yeah.
So this is music too. I mean, might sound stupid, but even when you listen to some machines, or when they build a house, and it can be some kind of a cacophony, and you might even think it's music too.
Yeah, you can find a rhythm.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Again, everything is music, and music is everything.
Yeah, and so because it can influence us so much, it is also being used to influence us. And it can be great, like in movies, for example. It has so much power. But then it also seems to be misused sometimes, this power of influence through music. For example, through advertisement. Music is everywhere in advertisement. And even if it's just a 10-second ad, it's packed with music that is supposed to make you feel something so that you will buy whatever they're selling, right?
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, what they do, not only the images, but the music and the lyrics, so stupid, but it's so well done that you really almost being forced to go out and buy that thing.
Yeah. There's even, I've noticed that they've come to use so much funk music in ads because it has this super upbeat, happy energy. Like they use it a lot nowadays. That's really interesting. But yeah, so would you say there it is being misused, or that it's even sort of evil to use this influence through music to make money, to sell things?
That's a big word, evil.
Yeah. Or wrong, or
No,
or taking away of the meaning of music, however you want to put it, you know.
You can describe it as a little evil, right? Because we are not now making some religious cause here, but yeah, I mean, it's like when something is being used to make money, to make a lot of money for something which the people don't need, then it's a little evil. That means, like when a lot of money is involved, then it's all about money. Then if you use some good thing, like music, then
it loses its spirit a little bit.
It loses its spirit.
Yeah.
You're killing it, sort of. So yes, we can talk about some kind of evil, but again, evil is a big word.
Yeah, and I mean, in blockbusters, huge films that make a lot of money, there it's not an ad, it's not selling some product we don't need and blah blah blah, but still the music is also used to make us feel something, and then to make money at the end of the day, right? Even then you can talk about it, is that right? But I love the combination of music and film, and
I have to admit, sometimes I cry when I look at the Hollywood movies.
That's what it's supposed to do, man.
Touchy. So it's good, it's not good at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good example, because it's like playing with our feelings, and making money of it.
Yeah, and I mean, we're paying to have that experience. We want to watch a film that makes us feel something, and that is the point. And that's also why I love movies and music. It's supposed to make you feel something.
Yeah.
But there comes a certain point where it just feels artificial or superficial, the way they make us feel things to make money. And it's not really about the emotions, but about the money, right? And that's where it starts to cross the line a little bit. Yeah. But I mean, even if we're talking about the music industry itself, the way they, they make us feel things or see certain stories behind the music, behind the artist and everything. I mean, there it's also, it's funny because it's the music industry itself, and yet it seems they are misusing the power of music to make money as well.
Absolutely. That means, I don't know how many years we should go back to find the innocence of the music. Well, it sounds all strange, maybe, but it's a fact that they are controlling us. And we are not talking about conspiracies here, right? We are talking about the fact that, Spotify and all kinds of things, and like that the musicians are being used through those companies to make big bucks. I mean, when you remember the 60s, the companies were using us too, but it was still somehow sort of normal in a way that if you were made a hit or whatever, you really got the money. And they were not stealing that much. But now it's even worse. A lot of fine musicians and composers don't get nothing, anything from Spotify and other predators.
Damn.
I would call them. That means I'm sorry, but we won't get any contract after this.
I mean, we don't have a contract now, so fuck it.
So fuck it, right.
Fuck it.
All right.
We're aware of it at least in movies, in the industry of music, in ads. I mean, some people probably don't realize how much power it has on us, but it's something where we know it's happening, sort of. But there's other ways in which the power of music can be misused. For example, if we're talking about propaganda, it can mean political, even religious. Yeah, making us feel something, or also making us feel like we belong together.
That's like military. They use all those marches, and it's a long tradition going into the war, going into the fight, and drumming.
Yeah, it boosts the morale, right?
Exactly.
It gives you a feeling of community, of belonging together, and also makes you feel powerful, right? And for a long, actually going back into history, there's multiple examples where music has been used to intimidate the enemy, right? Which is also a very interesting way to use the power of music.
Yeah, well, that's just like I remember the song we have arranged.
Right, that was Jan Hus, right?
Jan Hus was like a reformer, and they were afraid of him because he was attacking the church, and he wants to have some honesty in the church, in the religion, and they didn't like it at all.
Of course.
Of course. So they invited him to Germany just to discuss the topic, and they just burned him at stake. That's a terrible story. But what I want to talk.
But he inspired many people afterwards.
It's inspired a lot of people afterwards, and there was a huge movement of farmers and all kinds of people.
Rallying.
Yeah, and they were just have a community, and they had about this big town, and they had a genius general who was just created a strategical warfare, and they had this song which was called like "We Are the Holy Fighters." And can you imagine? I mean, there were like a couple of thousand going into the battle, and against them was the whole Europe, sort of like the best fighters, like, let's say 100,000 against 10,000.
Yeah, the odds were not in their favor.
And they won one battle, and then it went on and on. They won many battles, and just by singing the song, all those hired soldiers, they were just throwing their weapons away and run away because they were so scared. When they started to sing, they already knew we're gonna lose. That's an incredible power.
Yeah.
But of course, combined with the general who was just incredible at making war and.
Yeah, but to understand how to use this power of music to your advantage.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
But you covered this song, right?
We did cover that song, and yeah.
Which band was that?
That was a Goblet in Amsterdam, and I think the Dutch people didn't know how to react to it. It was very powerful.
Did you make it funky?
Well, we were just pure fun. No, I mean, now it was sort of slow, but very heavy, a little dark, and it was even a little Latino, I remember. The solo parts, we did some Latino stuff, and yeah.
That sounds so interesting.
So that's a power of the music. Yeah?
And just as music can be used for political propaganda, it can also be used for religious propaganda. My favorite example is Christian rock. I mean, that's just also an incredible marketing idea to make Christianity cool or rebellious, even in some sense, just to appeal to the young people, right? And I fucking hate it.
Well,
I mean, religious music can be really good, has brought a lot of good things.
But it's not religious music.
It's not. It's not original religious music,
no,
but it's music that is being used for religious purposes.
Yeah, that's very different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, also a very interesting example where it's very psychological, just to understand how certain music comes across and to use the image of this music to change the image of what you are trying to sell. That's really, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think when the rock started in the United States, then a lot of people saw it as a evil. Talking about evil again, there was evil music to them. The start of the rock and roll, and look at it now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's seen as evil because it sort of came with this lifestyle or the messages of sinful things, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
Exactly.
There's even a saying about it. It goes hand in hand with those sinful things. So the reason it was seen as evil is because it didn't fit into these religious ideals.
I think even jazz had that kind of a label put on it.
Yeah, I mean, jazz also comes from, I don't know, it also has a history of drugs. And yeah, I'm also wondering about whether generally black music was more often labeled as evil or sinful, where racism and religion comes together, right? That could be, yeah.
Why the classical music didn't have that kind of a evil label. Yeah?
Might be.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they were always attached to the church.
Exactly.
They were always sort of being also financed by church.
Yes, and that's also, I think, it can both be negative and positive, because on one hand, it is then again turned into sort of religious propaganda, but on the other hand, they did pay people to make music, to write music. And so without that, there's surely a lot of compositions that wouldn't exist today. So yeah, it's again a little bit, it can be both negative and positive, right? This label of good or evil, or, you know, what is ethical, it's of course very relative. And a lot of stuff is decided, of course, by religion, of what is right and wrong. And we all have our own moral compass, but music can be good and healing. Can it also be evil? And now we're not talking about, the church said it's bad because of this and that, or the people were scared of it, but like, actually, can it be evil?
To me, it's like the thing with the white magic and black magic. It doesn't exist, in a sense. Behind all that, white magic and black magic is the same energy. That means music is innocent. Mm-hmm. And it's about how you use these energies.
Yes, I agree. It depends on
we do it.
What your intention
use it or
is.
misuse it.
Yeah.
You know,
but now, what about sort of evil or dark themes? If we're not talking about necessarily what is the intention behind how it's being used, but rather about, for example,
the messages.
Black metal, death metal, which is obviously not just in the way the music feels, but also the topics that they talk about and the visuals and everything. It's very dark.
The message.
It can go in the direction of devil worshipping, but there's also just heavy topics, whatever. If it's going in that direction of dark, evilish things, is that evil? Or is that just some kind of expression? You know what I mean?
Well, it's not that simple. I mean, it's not that black and white, but I'm pretty sure that it's on the side of evil than of the side of good, because you will. It's the message you were praying with the music you make, and if the message is commit a suicide, then I cannot see anything good in it.
Yeah, of course, there's also different messages. You know, it's one thing to sort of glorify this kind of
Exactly,
stuff, and
glorifying
another
the
thing
stuff.
is to talk about it, right? Or to have such a maybe the lyrics are about a horrible thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's glorifying that.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult to distinguish, right? Because if you are using some black magic symbols or evil symbols, it might be necessary that that's the music you do or the message you do is evil. You know, you can just play with these symbols, but I would say watch it.
Be
Watch
careful.
it, cause be careful. But you know, it's very difficult to distinguish what is what. I mean, put a evil label on somebody. It's not a simple thing, you know. It's but we still want to talk about it,
Yeah,
right?
but since you said like you can play with the symbols, I think that's what's happening in pop music nowadays. We know it very well from like death metal, that's sort of the typical thing, or even rock and roll. And but nowadays, even in pop music, it's becoming quite popular to have those horror elements. Billie Eilish is an example where yeah, people love that shit, right? Whether it's just, you know, in the music videos or also the lyrics themselves. But yeah, it seems that young people are into it. And it's really interesting. I've thought about it, about why that could be. And surely it has to do with, as we were talking about, ethics and this idea of what is good. And young people love to rebel, right? And anything that is sort of, rebellious is interesting. And so maybe it has something to do with that as well.
Using as a shock effect,
Yeah.
and people who have put it, they love this kind of shocking images, and yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to shock the people nowadays. I mean,
Yeah, that's maybe why they have to push it further and further just to get the attention, sort of.
I mean, when we speak about when we mention Madonna, you know, in her days, there were it was shocking, those images.
Yeah,
You know,
but then
like, and
once
nowadays it looks like something for the kiddies.
again,
You
okay,
know,
now you're exaggerating a little bit.
do I?
No, but I mean, once again, it's Christian ideals, and Madonna went for both, showing sort of something sexual and combining it with religious symbols. So that was, of course, a huge outrage,
Yes.
right? Which you could say nowadays it's not as bad, but once again, it's not evil itself. It's just provoking these ethics that actually come from religion,
It's
and
like-
that's really not an absolute ethical
That's
standpoint.
ethical. I'm just thinking about how far you allowed to go, right? Actually, as an artist, you should feel free and sing about anything you want, about the God, about evil, whatever, you know. So this is the freedom of artistry. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like that they are evil worshippers themselves. They just using the elements to get the attention, and they just use the dark energy, sort of, which doesn't make it necessarily evil.
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult to distinguish, and one should be careful about putting a evil label on these kind of acts,
Yeah.
because we just mentioned it in the beginning of rock and roll.
Yeah.
They were saying it's evil music and jazz, it's evil, you know. So we have to be careful with it.
Yeah, so it's really about how you use the music, what your intention is, whether we're talking about good or bad, or simply are you just doing it for yourself? Are you only thinking about yourself? Or do you care about communicating and connecting with others? And we were already talking a little bit about the religious aspects. And I think you wanted to get into it in the beginning about how through religion, there is still spiritual music, right? And we can say a lot of bad things about religion, but yeah, it is a place where musical tradition has been able to persist, and where music, yes, it can be used to create a sense of community, separating, religious people from non-religious people or whatever. But it can also be used to create a beautiful sense of togetherness and communication, being in touch with yourself, being in touch with God, whatever. But it creates this musical practice in certain cultures, at least. One example is this great Nepalese band that we know, who sometimes comes to play in Switzerland as well.
Yeah. Almost every year, right?
Yeah. And we help manage them and stuff.
I had the pleasure to play with them a couple of times.
Yeah, that was really
As
cool.
a guest, that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
High level of musicianship. And
they practice like hell. Or should I say like heaven?
I used to practice like hell.
Yeah, I know. But it's...
But it's a different... Yeah, we're talking about the differences of practicing. Mm-hmm. So the way we practice is normally to improve our chops.
To make fewer mistakes, yeah.
Which is fine, which works very well. But they just have a different approach. I've been watching them every morning. They wake up, early in the morning, I don't know, at 8. And then at 9 they start to play music. And they practice, but the practicing is like being done a different way. Like they use this one scale, and they go up and down through the scale, and that's being done for at least half an hour, 40 minutes, and then they might go into improvisation. But the whole thing is not about the techniques. It's about to relax and tune up the spirits. Like being together. And that's kind of an approach. I love it. It's like you really bring those different characters and spirits, souls together. So when you play in the evening, you're already sort of there, So they are such a fine musicians. They don't have to hone their abilities. And so, of course, they can and they do sometimes. But that's kind of an approach of being together instead of being together like technically. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
To be together in the moment and really be connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And you feel it when they play. It's it has a different feeling, a different presence.
And they're grooving.
They are.
They are incredible. Yeah,
every time I hear them, I just think, fuck, I need to start learning tablas, man. It's so cool, yeah. No, yeah, it's really special to approach music in this sense. The only thing is, also because it's a tradition, a religious tradition, it always has to be the same, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
And this practice
is not flexible.
Yeah, it's not allowed to just, change however you want it to.
You have a lot of rules.
Yeah.
How to do this, how not to do that.
When to play which raga.
When to play which raga. Morning raga, you shouldn't be playing in the evening. Evening raga, you shouldn't be playing in the morning. So
Yeah, so this tradition has its
strict
upsides
rules, yeah.
and its downsides. Absolutely.
It's a part of it.
Yeah. Let's get into Mike's musical memories.
Thank you.
Okay, what year are we in?
Oh my goodness! I guess it's like 80s maybe. 80s in Amsterdam, and I remember the guy who is a music critic. He was writing reviews, right, about the concerts, and I realized how phony that is sometimes. He would not even attend those concerts and would write reviews about it.
Yeah,
wow, being paid well. Anyway, so the guy didn't have time to visit the concert of Astor Piazzolla. So he just told me, you just take a stand with you and pretend to be a music critic and just walk through. That's what I did. I just walked through for free.
Yeah, you got in without paying.
And,
Nice.
he came after the show. He appeared, and the Astor Piazzolla. We went with him to the restaurants to enjoy some meal, and I had a chance to talk to him. A very, very nice guy, man. Yeah, I told him, you are a magician. And he replied in Spanish, no, I'm just a little magician. You know, a very humble guy, actually. And then we were talking about the traditions of the music, and he was a tango player. And he changed the tango. You know, he used jazz elements. Mm-hmm. And he was listening to people like Chick Corea, Weather Report, and not only folk music, right? So he just used those elements and created some kind of a new tango. And people, some purists, probably a lot of them, hated him for that. Because it's untouchable, you know, the tango.
The tradition.
And they were attacking him at the streets, and he could defend himself. You know why? Because he used to be a boxer. So he didn't have a problem with it. Yeah, well, that's a funny story, isn't it? I mean, a tradition.
Yeah,
right?
You told me also...
yeah.
There's another one about flamenco, right?
Oh, well, that's the big guy, Paco de Lucia, and he did similar thing as Astor. He changed the flamenco, the traditional flamenco, and again he was listening to jazz, and then he applied those jazz elements, and a lot of purists didn't like it at all, but through that started something new, like a new flamenco, and it's just marvelous how it goes. So
I think you can both honor the traditions,
you can combine
and
it.
do
You still
something
respect,
new. Yeah,
you still respect the tradition.
Yeah,
but you go your own way because it's modern times. And
yeah, because it's music and it's supposed to evolve.
Yeah,
and you can't keep it stuck like that. Yeah, it also holds a lot of power, and a lot of people are scared of traditions changing because that's the point. Traditions need to stay the same, right? But I think even traditions can change, and they have to change as our times change.
Because some traditions are bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And even
not in the music, really.
No, even good traditions need to change, need to go with the times. It just shows how powerful music is, because it can create such a feeling of community, even of identity. And it has so much to do with culture, also showing how different music came up in different parts of the world. And it's a beautiful thing how it is given from generation to generation. That's incredible. And then also it's bound to change. It just is.
Music is just immortal, right?
Yeah, as long as it keeps evolving, it's immortal, I would say.
Yes, but everything keeps on evolving. Even it's not might not take the good way, but we can stop the progress.
Yeah, change has to happen.
And
Absolutely.
music is reflecting the life like nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible how it can evolve, which I think nowadays we are looking since a long time for something new.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. It's a reflection of the world right now. We need a change. We need a revolution, both musically and societally. Yeah, goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
So what it's gonna be?
Revolution through the music.
I hope.
Yeah, if we're talking about the power of music, man, I believe in it. Music can make a difference to just.
But do the cyborgs bring the change?
I mean, it's a change that we turn into cyborgs, and then afterwards there's no change anymore because we're all cyborgs.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Is it the future of music?
Maybe it's the end of music.
Probably. We will see. I don't know. We stay tuned. Stay tuned. There is still a lot to discuss.
Yeah, if you've been enjoying this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you would go and leave a good rating. And just so you know, you can listen to examples of all the music that we talked about in this podcast by clicking on the link in our description. Go and discover the playlist that we made just for you. There's so many topics that we just brushed over a little bit that we will get into more on the next episodes. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. So yeah, keep tuning in, and you can follow us on social media if you want. There's also exciting stuff happening there. And give us some feedback. How did you like this episode? Yeah, nothing too personal, please. No, I'm kidding. We can take it. Give us your honest opinions, just like we do.
Nice to be here, and have a good time.
Yeah, till next time. It's been a hard, long fight, but you'll be alright. Cause you know you're on it. Even when things get tough, you keep all the love and you listen to your heart. Happy days don't come easy. Happy days don't come easy. Happy days, they don't come easy. You keep all the love and you listen to your heart.